Hello everyone, welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to another very special video. We're delighted to welcome Mr. Tom Cleverley to the show. Tom, thank you so much for your time today, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. First off, how you doing, mate? You all good?
Yeah, all good. Enjoying a day off today, but been working hard in the rehab. We're all on track and things are going well. So yeah.
Yeah, how's the injury going, mate? Just on that, because obviously the last game you played was Wickham. We've carried on that brilliant form, to be fair, but just personally, how's it been for you?
Yeah, it's going really well. I mean, we said 3 to 4 weeks, and I'm on track for that. So I'm hoping to play some part over the Easter weekend. But like you said, the lads are doing great, and it's one of them strange things. You want to get back in as soon as possible, but you don't want to get back in because the team have had a bad result. So I'm happy to sit it out and win the rest of the 8 games.
The competition in the squad at the moment is probably the strongest it's been at Watford in years. And obviously it's not going to be as simple as just walking straight back in the team. But, how happy are you, for the rest of the squad? Philip Zinckernagel come in, Dan Gosling as well. The fact that they filled your pretty big boots pretty well.
Yeah, I think in the four and a bit years I've been back at the club, it's been the best team spirit we've had. And it's easy to say when you're winning games, but even when we had that sticky spell of results against Millwall, QPR, Coventry, it was the lads really rallied around each other, dug each other out, and yeah, so the team spirit's great. So I'm not surprised that people just like it, and I'm really happy for them. Obviously, Gozzy's experienced player, but Philip was more of an unknown and playing in a position that he doesn't really know. So for him to do so well, I'm really pleased for him. And yeah, it's the same for the injured boys who are texting each other during the match, watching Hive Live and stuff like that. It's like everyone really cares. And we're genuinely really happy for people who step into your shoes, and that's not always been the same over the last 3-4 years that I've been at the club.
I just wanted to ask, Clebs, on this season, just in general for you personally, you've actually spent the majority of your time playing a skipper, really, with Troy being out. You've kind of filled his role, really. How have you found that responsibility? Because I think as Watford fans, we've always seen you as a leader on the pitch, both on and off the pitch, and you set a really good example. But for you, how has that evolved your game at this point in your career?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, to be honest. I felt like the squad has got quite a lot younger over the summer, and yeah, I needed to step up. I lead by example anyway, just without having to say anything. I like to set good examples, like you said, on the training field and on the field. But yeah, I've enjoyed the responsibility of having to be a bit more vocal in the dressing room and things like that. And yeah, how in the future I want to be a coach, so it's quite good experience for me, having to be a lot more vocal pre-match and things like that. So yeah, took it in my stride and I'm enjoying it.
Have you taken bits and bobs off Troy, or is it you very much like yourself with the captaincy?
Yeah, I think we're two different characters. So you're always going to miss Troy's leadership qualities, no matter what team you are. But I go about it different way, just as Nate goes it a different way to me. And so far this season, I think all three of us have been pretty good at it.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, Tom, about kind of the turnaround in the season, really, because you mentioned Hive Live a little bit earlier, and I think you were on after the game after the Coventry game, and you mentioned in the extra show about how you lads had a team meeting ahead of the Bristol City game. You don't think you need to go into what was said, but do you think that was the turning point in the season? Because we've gone on an incredible run since that Coventry game. I think it's 9 wins in 10, 5 on the bounce, obviously, at the moment. Did you feel in the squad at that moment like there was a switch, like we're on it now? Automatics are in our mindset.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get talking like the job's done yet, but there's certainly been a change since after that Coventry game, and it's definitely been a turning point. 3 or 4 of the senior boys spoke to each other that night, which was pretty much Trusty Kong really drove that, who maybe you guys wouldn't know that he's a real leader, cares about the club, and he drove that night. And fair play, because the Tuesday morning we got together, we had a meeting, we said what needed saying, and yeah, we were turning against each other a bit, I thought, in the Coventry game, and that's not the way to go about it. So since that day, we've had no like going mad at each other or trying. It's pure encouragement, get behind each other, and coincided with we changed the system to 4-3-3 for the Bristol City game, and since that day, I think we've been a much better team.
Elliot, I wanted to bring you in there, mate, about the 4-3-3. It's been a real change, hasn't there? The way we're playing. I mean, we're scoring goals for fun at the moment. As Tom says, the job isn't done. But what's been the big changes for you, and in terms of the way we're playing?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about, Tom. Just how it did all sort of coincide, like you said, with the meeting. It was after Coventry, and then the Bristol City game. The change to the 4-3-3 seems to have worked wonders. Obviously, that might not be the sole change that makes everything work out as well as it has, but how do you feel in that role? Because you're a very versatile midfielder. You've played in sort of holding role. You've been out wide before. So how do you feel being sometimes the furthest forward in that three in midfield, and how important is the relationship with players like Will Hughes and Nathaniel Chalobah alongside you?
Yeah, for me, it's my favourite system to play in, and where I was playing before the injury, it's my favourite position in that system to be playing in. So for me, it's perfect. I feel like, everyone is very comfortable in it, even though it's not been our go-to system over the years. I feel like everyone looks comfortable in it and is enjoying it, and hopefully it's the answer long term going forward. But sometimes you can think playing two strikers or going to one striker is a negative move, but I feel like we're getting enough people in the box and getting our wingers in good positions, and it gives them a bit more license not to have to defend with the three midfielders behind it. At the minute, it's working, yeah, but doesn't mean to say we won't have to change in the future. But I'm enjoying this system, and it's one that I enjoy most playing.
Obviously, fans aren't in Vicarage Road at the moment. You've spoken about before, that feeling of shooting in front of the Rookery in the second half and that kind of thing. For not large parts, but for some parts of this season, if we're being honest, it hasn't been good enough. And could you kind of feel the fans' frustrations from afar, even though we haven't always been in the stadium?
Yeah, I mean, from past experiences, I try not to get caught up too much with what fans are saying on social media or in the papers and things like that. But I think by our own standards, we just knew we weren't good enough. We weren't threatening enough. We weren't scoring enough goals. The away record was poor. And with that would come fan frustration. I think we've got an experienced enough squad to know that. And we needed to turn it round. And listen, no squad will work harder than ours. We can safely say at the end, if things didn't work out, we could not do any more. And we're doing our best to turn it round, and we're back on the right track, and we just have to keep it going.
Clebs, we wanted to get to know you a little bit more. Obviously, you've been at the club 09-10, the first loan spell. I was a little bit younger then, as we all were. And then obviously you came back in 2017 on loan and then joined permanently. I think the big question, as Sam mentioned, with the fans and your relationship with them, would you say you've been at United, Everton, you've had a few loan spells? Would you say Watford is your club?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel that 100% feel that way. Even though I grew up through all the age groups at Man United. I only played 3 years in the first team there, and I've done 5.5 at Watford now. I've played for Watford more than I have any other football club, and this definitely, if my career was to start tomorrow, this would be the club that I feel is my club, and I'm most at home at. So I hope there's many more years left in me yet, but that's the way I feel.
That's brilliant. I mean, I think the thing is with the relationship with the Watford fans, just taking you back to 09-10. I mean, a skinhead Tom Cleverley came on the scene with Henry Lansbury. I mean, it was a joy to watch. One moment that we really wanted to talk about today, Clebs, is the Lloyd Doyley moment, right? When you're directing Lloyd.
First
Sam,
game.
Go on, mate.
Yeah, no, it was. Do you know what? I remember that night. I was. It was my first night, first Watford game, and I remember walking down Vicarage Road, seeing the teams, and then obviously we won 3-1. Lloyd Doyley's goal, you scored as well, and I remember at that point I was like, for some reason I completely fell in love with you. I got my first player I got on the back of a Watford shirt was Tom Cleverley. I've got another one here. I can go get it in a sec. But
Go on, mate.
it was I'll go get the Tom Cleverley shirt. But what was it like that night with Lloyd Doyley?
Yeah, it was brilliant. He's obviously a club legend. It didn't take me long to get my head around that. That the guy was just a legend, not only at the club but in the town. If you went into the town with Lloyd, then it was like, yeah, everything's for free. Everything's for free. Yeah, so
freedom of Watford.
Yeah, and it also didn't take me long to find out that Lloyd had never scored a goal for the club. So for that to rumble on and him finally to do it whilst I was there, and yeah, looking back at it now, I hope you don't feel like I was being at all patronising, because I'm not really a seasoned goal scorer myself, but yeah, I just thought he should enjoy that moment with his own fans. It was his club, and yeah, I wanted him to enjoy it with his own fans, so I just sort of directed him.
Just talking about your goals as well. I mean, the context behind this shirt, I'm saying, is it was this shirt you scored the winner in against Arsenal. Unbelievable moment. Would you say that's up there? Not just in terms of your best Watford moments, but your career moments, because that Vicarage Road exploded that night. It was absolutely mental. Like, where does that rank in terms of career highlights?
Yeah, probably as far as a goal goes, it weren't my best goal, but to score a last minute win against Arsenal, it was probably one of the ones that meant the most. And yeah, it's one of the moments that I think even six months after it, I could watch that video clip and still get a few shivers, and the dugouts going mad and the rookery going mad. It was just, yeah, a real one of the goals that I'll look back very, very fondly.
Yeah, in terms of just what Sam said there, Clevs, in terms of like where it ranks, is that like top in terms of the goals you scored, or is there one that in particular stands out for you?
For me, personal like sentiment, the Palace goal was
carnage when that went in. Oh my!
Yeah, not only because we've managed to grow this like rivalry against Palace from somewhere, and that obviously to score the winner. But I'd gone for a really difficult spell in my career with my Achilles to the point where I was like, I don't know if I'll be the same player again, and I was having real issues with that. And to come back and score the first goal after them problems, it meant a lot personally to me.
It was such a brilliant strike, and I just in that moment, did you just think, right, I've got to swing my leg up and hit it like that? It was what? God.
Yeah, I think it was a long throw, and I'm always quite proactive on the second balls from long throws, so that bit weren't a fluke, but the next bit might have been a bit of a fluke. I think it whistled just past Wan-Bissaka's ear. It's quite lucky not to take a big deflection off him, and yeah, straight in the top corner. And the only regret I have is not going to the fan side. I went to the opposite corner because I was just sort of like leaning that way. But
I blame you for an injury I got that night. I remember when that went in, someone threw a crutch at me in the away. I don't know how that happened. I blame you for that, Tom.
Mate, serious seeds of that away and at Selhurst. I remember when you hit that, mate, and I think Troy was like the first one over to you, wasn't it? I mean, he was so happy for you. That relationship with Troy, obviously you guys have been at the club and you know the DNA of the football club. What was your relationship like with Troy?
Me and Troy go back a lot, even longer, because we've had the same agent for 10 years. So I've known Troy for a lot longer than just my time at Watford. And then I came, he was the first one to help me settle in and help me with what I ever needed. So yeah, and he's obviously a great player and a club legend. So we've got a lot of respect for each other and spend time with each other. And yeah, he's an inspiration for everyone around the place. He's really hard worker, does everything right off the pitch, and yeah, a lot of mutual respect between me and Troy. And
just on the topic of Troy as well, I mean, we've seen him, doing some punditry work. Obviously, you're quite famous in Ben Foster's video for Countdown with Clevs and that kind of thing. I mean, you mentioned coaching after your career, and we've seen some players, now thinking about what they're going to do after. Is it just coaching, managing? Could you see yourself staying at Watford as a coach? What's kind of the mindset there?
Yeah, I've not really thought of where I'll end up. Obviously, it'd be nice to be able to coach or manage one of the clubs that you really care about. But it's top of my list. I've not really thought about anything else. So I'll be doing my coaching licenses in the next couple of years in preparation for getting to 35, 36, 37, whenever it may be. And yeah, that's top of my list. And I think the trend at the minute seems to be going into maybe an 18s or a 23s and then progressing like Gerard or Scott Parker and people like this are doing. So that'd be the ideal journey for me. But at the minute, I'm focusing on playing.
Because you did a press conference just before we played Manchester United in the Cup. And I remember you saying that you were still in regular contact with some of the people from Manchester United that have now gone into coaching and that sort of thing. You played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think you mentioned, with the United reserves or something like that. Is there much that you pick up from them and that you take hopefully into coaching when your career does end? So like, I think you said, was it Darren Fletcher you said you were still in contact with and that you might take pointers from because he's now obviously a coach at United and you've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well?
Yeah, I mean, Fletcher's one of those that stood out as he's going to have a long career in football off the pitch because his football knowledge and the way he sees the game is really good. But I think I've got a head start on a lot of people, really. The managers I've worked under, the coaches that I've worked under, it'd be sort of a waste to not put that into my experiences. I mean, no, I don't really know if I'd be a good coach or whether it'd be for me, but I certainly feel like I've got a bit of a head start and still in contact with people like Wayne Rooney and who he says he's loving it. So I don't think it'll ever be the same as playing or scoring a goal, but I think that it's as close to being in a football environment as you possibly can, and I think I'd just miss it too much to give it up.
What's the particular aspects of Xisco as a manager that you really rate and you really like about his style of coaching?
Yeah, I think you can sort of put most managers into, are they more of a man manager, psychology of the players, kind of managing the whole club at the bottom, making sure everyone's in the right mindset, or are they pure like tactics, like training field, you need to be here at this time? And I think Xisco is more the first option, even though he's sort of in the middle a little bit. He's the first option, and I do like that when a manager's, Sir Alex was like that. He was all about getting his players in the right mindset and knowing his players inside out and managing their well-being and things like that. So I think I can see that in Xisco, and I could see that a lot in Nigel Pearson as well. So yeah, I'd say that's a similarity that Xisco's got. He really cares that everyone in the football club is in their best mindset to work to their best of their ability, and that's something that I'd definitely take forward into my coaching career if I was to have one.
I feel like as well, Tom, that just generally now at the moment in football and in wider society, there's a massive emphasis on mental health at the moment. As a player, how much of a difference does that make to your own mental health when you kind of have a manager who's able to put your arm around you, that kind of thing, and just increasing, bettering the mood around the whole football club?
Yeah, it's really good, and it's worked really well with Xisco. I think, football's always changing, or the life of a footballer is always changing, especially with the emergence of social media and things like that. So sometimes, footballers do need a father figure or something like that, especially the foreign lads. Like they might not have family close, or they might be struggling, and they need a father figure just to say to them, or get the red right. So Xisco's great at stuff like that, and it really is appreciated from the players when you have a manager like that. And it's not always loving and caring. Sometimes the manager needs to know when to give the players a rocket as well, and he's got that in his locker as well.
Have you been on the end of a Alex Ferguson hair dry treatment?
Yeah, I think most players say they've been on the end of it once and once only, and I can remember mine at Stamford Bridge in a cup quarter final. So never again.
I'm guessing Xisco hasn't got his hair dryer out yet or anything like that. He doesn't seem the type.
He has. He's done it once actually. Yeah, it was on the training field, and yeah, I think you only need to do it once to let the players know that, all right, yeah, standards drop, then it's not acceptable.
You mentioned social media there. You're on Instagram now. Was it the lads who forced you to get it, or did you think, right, I've just got to join the club now?
No, it was more of a, do you know what I mean? I'm not the most active on social media, but it was more of a lockdown, not much going on off the field at the time, and I thought, yeah, let's have a dabble back into it. So yeah, I quite enjoy it actually. I'm much more of a looker than a poster, but yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I wanted to actually get your thoughts, Tom, on music. Actually, pre-match tunes. Are you the kind of guy who's a bit chill pre-match, or you're on it hardcore, pumped up music?
Yeah, I would prefer it to like upbeat. Yeah, on it. Who do I like? Dan Batman's not been bad actually. Troy or Andre normally do it, but Dan Batman was doing it just before I got injured. He was quite good. Yeah. So any house tunes. I like my indie tunes, but there's not much of that in football.
Good man. What are we saying? Oasis, Stone Roses?
Yeah, Cortinas for me. If I was pre-match, if I was pre-match headphones on, I'd go Cortinas and get proper pump.
Yeah, we had, to be fair, we had Dan on, and he had some bold music shouts as well. I wanted to ask, are you an Elton fan? Are you an Elton John fan? Is there a couple of tracks? Surely it's got to be in there, Tom. You said you love Watford. Surely Elton's in the playlist.
No pressure.
Yeah, I have got Elton's greatest hits. Yeah, but it's not on pre-match, unfortunately.
In terms of just like you mentioned the dressing room there, like pre-match, who are your best mates at Watford? Really, obviously you know Craig Cathcart. Is Ben another one? Troy, they're the guys.
Yeah, Hughes is my closest pal. Got a lot in common with Hughesy. And yeah, Maps, obviously the ones that you said were all close pals, but Hughesy, yeah, off the pitch, me and Hughesy are the closest, spend time with him when we can off the pitch, play golf, whatever. And Maps was as well. So just still trying, when lockdown's over, grab coffees with Maps and see how he's doing, and still speak to him about obviously having Nigel down there now as well. So keep in touch with Maps. But yeah, the lads that you said there and Hughes are my closest pals there.
Just before we kind of, we got 10 quick fire questions for you. But just before we move on to that, I know you mentioned Maps and Cathcart, and along with you, they've all, and Foster as well, you've all kind of been there before kind of the Pozzo regime started. Except for kind of the facilities improving, what would you say are the main differences with the club from kind of your first spell to now?
Obviously, the quality of players that the club can attract is massive. We were on such a small budget when I was here first time around that I think at one stage half the team was academy graduates. So now to be attracting players like I know they're not here, but Delafeu and Pereira and Sarr and people like this, it's just the progression of the club has been fantastic. As well, like you said, the training ground, the stadium. I played when it was only 3 stands open, so the stadium is really top notch. We've got the best pitch in the league, in this league, and probably in the top 5 in the Premier League. So yeah, it's a club that hopefully can make the same sort of progression over the next 10 years, and it would really would be in a good place. So
just going back to that 09-10 season, Clevs, when you initially joined on loan, did you ever think you would come back? Was there ever in part of your mind you thought, right, I might actually come back to Watford? Because you had a really good season when you were on loan here.
I don't think as a young 20-year-old you ever think about that, but I would never ruled it out. I got on with everyone, loved the fans, loved Mackie, and left with a lot of friends. So it's never something I would ruled out. But as a 20-year-old player, I don't think you ever think about returning to clubs that you spend on loan, I suppose.
And that return in 2017, when you got the call that Watford were interested when you were at Everton, was it just a no-brainer straight away? I'm coming back to Vicarage Road. Yeah,
no brainer. I mean, around that time, I was speaking to a couple of managers, and I remember the call my agent gave me, and I was literally doing a medical the next morning. Yeah, didn't take any time at all. And yeah, I think I travelled down that night. It all happened in less than 24 hours. Travelled down that night, medical next morning, done. And I came on against Middlesbrough, which was the week of Graham Taylor passing, and hit the post, which would have just been like the perfect goal to score for him. But yeah, apart from that, it was the perfect week.
Elliot, just to bring you in there, mate. What was your reaction when Tom came back? I mean, I was absolutely buzzing. I think, Tom, you mentioned the bit before that was quite difficult for you, but I think you're playing your best football at Watford. You're happiest when you're at Watford. Elliot, from your point of view, what was your reaction when Tom came back in 2017?
It might have been that I wasn't maybe on social media as much, but it felt like I didn't see any rumours of it. And like I say, it happened so quickly, and then it just happened. So I was very pleasantly surprised to see you come back and actually come into the team so quickly, because it was initially on a loan, I think. And I remember all the fans were desperate for us to get you tied down on a permanent deal and all of that. So yeah, just the general sort of feeling of it being a loan, did that change your perspective in any way, or was that always to you where you wanted to be, permanent and at the club?
Yeah, I think, I can't remember now, but I think it was either appearance based. There was something in the contract that I was pretty nailed on to sign permanently. So in my mind, that was me back for good. Luckily, I had a house or an apartment down here. My missus is from the south, so I was straight back, felt like home, and at a club that I knew. So yeah, it was definitely for the long term for me, even though it was just initially on loan.
Just in terms of on your return to Watford, bit of a difficult question this, but who's been your favourite manager to work under? We'll take Xisco out of it, but has there been one in particular that you've really enjoyed the training, the way he set up tactically as well?
I mean, I think...
Sorry, mate, I've thrown you under the bus there.
it's quite a tough one. Do you know what? The appointment of managers has been... They don't really last long, but they've had some real good quality managers. I think any player would choose the manager that he's in best form under, and for me, it might not be the most popular decision, but it was Marco Silva. I just got on with him straight away. He played me in my best position, and that's not showing any bitterness to any of the others. That they were all really top managers, but for me, he got the best out of me, and that's when I was enjoying it.
Top man.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about, I don't take up too much of your time on this because we'll get into the quickfire questions soon, but just about your international experience and playing for England and also for Great Britain, which is not something many people can say that they've played for Great Britain as well, because I think you were in the first Great Britain team since 1960 or something like that. So I'm sure we'll talk briefly about England as well, but what was it like playing at the Olympics for Great Britain and also scoring a really good penalty, I might add?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's not really something you think about when you're a young footballer. A young footballer trying to make it in the game. It's never really top of your agenda to play in an Olympics. So to do that, it was a fantastic experience, especially in a home Olympics. And it's something I'm glad that's on my CV. And yeah, internationally, it's obviously really proud to have 13 caps. I think my home games at Wembley were probably the most nervous I've been before games, and that showed in a couple. Had some good performances for England, some bad performances for England, but at the end of the day, you played 13 times for your country, and no one can take that away from you. So proud.
I was having a little look through at some of the teams you played, and I saw you were in an England team that beat Brazil 2-1 that had Ronaldinho and Neymar, that can't be either.
Joe Hart saved the penalty that game, didn't he?
Yeah, Ronaldinho. I've got my caps up here. I think my dad's got the Brazil one, but I played England-Scotland game as well. That was nice.
Yeah.
And then some not so good ones. We got battered off Chile and Germany in the same week one time, and that was probably the low point.
I'll tell you what, Tom, we'll move on to some quick fire questions if that's okay. Thank you so much for your time with this as well. We really do appreciate it, mate. So 10 quick fire questions, really, really kind of random ones. The first one is, if you could relive one moment during your time at Watford, what would it be?
Let's say... Palace away goal.
Oh, mate, I can't go with those scenes.
I'd wheel over to the other side.
Love that. Favourite Watford shirt you've played in?
There's been some good ones.
Yeah, I think you got to say the. Do you know what? I'll say my first year, now 09-10.
Yes, love it.
Yeah,
love
That's
it.
a good one. Really good one.
That is a really good one. If you had to pick one, goal or assist?
Goal.
Goal day.
Yeah.
Best player you play with?
Scholes.
Oh, how good is he, by the way? Like, how good is Scholesy? Like,
it's hard to describe. A guy who's 5'8", not quick, don't tackle particularly well. Genius, mate. I like playing golf, and whenever I go to see the professionals play, it's like a different noise and a different ball flight. And as a professional footballer, you don't think someone could ever impress you striking a football, but he would. It was just sweet spot every time, and not only that, his mind was just 3-4 steps before everyone else's, and yeah, a real proper player.
Sounds like you're describing Will Hughes this season.
Superb. Tom, what would be your boxing walk-on song?
Oh, got to say Sweet Caroline at the minute.
Yeah.
Love that. If you become a manager eventually, you're going to go with the suit or the tracksuit?
Oh,
that's a tough one.
I think I'd be smart casual, so not full suit, but smart cash.
Like the Cisco, basically.
Yeah, a bit Cisco-esque.
Favourite Netflix series?
Good question. At the minute, I'm watching Drive to Survive.
Nice.
And I know it's not Netflix, I've just done Your Honour, that was decent.
Yeah, like that. Funniest player at Watford, in your opinion?
Cathcart.
Everyone says
that. Very popular choice.
Yeah.
What's it about him?
He's got one-liners, he's got dry comedy, he's got pranks. He's funny guy, and you obviously don't have he's not on social media, he don't do interviews. Like proper quiet family guy, but he's a funny man.
Coach plane or train to an away game?
Let's plane.
Nice.
I don't mind. Yeah, don't mind the plane. Stretch your legs and all that. So
yeah.
Are you on for a 3:00 kickoff, nice and traditional, or would you like game under the floodlights, probably on Sky or BT, and all the action on you in that way?
Do you know what? I am a bit of a traditionalist. Like, I think football should be played 3:00 on a Saturday, but I probably more enjoy the night games under the lights.
Yeah,
and up to a certain stage this season, we had such a good record under the lights. I was sort of getting a bit worried about playing Saturday 3:00, but we seem to have got that one off our back.
Love that. And then the last one that we have for you is, who would you say has been player of the season at Watford so far?
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Wow. I don't want to. How good's Firmini's just so good.
Yeah,
he's ridiculous.
Every week, I'd probably have to say Kiko.
Yeah.
Very good shout. He has been so good, Kiko.
Consistent.
I mean, I've not put much thought into that, and there'd be a lot of candidates, but yeah, Kiko is so consistently to a high level, and he's a Premier League player playing in the Championship. Really.
100%. Just actually, finally, before you go, what's it like playing with Ismaila? Like, in terms of his pace, like it's just ridiculous watching him from the sidelines. What was it like playing with him?
Yeah, I think he's probably the best athlete I've ever played with. I mean, everyone knows he's quick, and you get quick players, but he's repeated sprints and his numbers of covering distance at high speed is like mind blowing. Something that I've never seen before. So, great athlete, and puts fear into defenders. So glad he's on our team. Heading
into the last 8 games of the season, obviously the job's not done. To me, it's a critical time of the season. Any messages for the fans? Yeah, now listen, stick with us. Let's, like the players have been doing, let's all stick together. All the top teams are going to drop points from now to the end of the season, so let's not
let our nerves get the better of us. I know we put you through the mill most weeks, and we don't get the job done like we did at Rotherham and Birmingham. Normally, it's last minute fingernails and all that. But
yeah, please no more. Please no more when we're 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go. I can't do that again.
Yeah, listen, stick with us. We're working as hard as we possibly can to get the job done, and hopefully we can celebrate together in the summer.
Clevs, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. We really do appreciate your time, and best of luck for the rest of the season. And fingers crossed we'll see you back out there before the end of the season as well.
Cheers, boys. Appreciate it.
Top man. Cheers, Tom. Take care.